there's a lot of optimism that the growth target in the Philippines will exceed that of the World Bank, will exceed that of the ADB. What's driving this optimism, and how fast can the economy grow?
Well, we just got our data for the first quarter of our manufacturing sector, and the growth of the manufacturing sector was on the order of 12% per annum. And we also got data on government spending, which has risen from 5.4% in 2017 to about 6.2% of GDP this first quarter of 2018. So these are big stimuli to economic growth.
So what growth can be, 7.2%, upwards of 7%?
Well, for this year, we hope it will be, at least 7%. At least, So maybe, hopefully, even higher than 7%.
Infrastructure and President Duterte's build strategy has pretty much contributed to growth. Give us a sense of how much infrastructure will play. I mean, what kind of approvals are we looking at?
Yes. Okay, let me start by saying that, of course, the credibility and the quality of leadership has also been an important factor because, the president seems to have generated optimism among investors and consumers, investors including domestic and foreign investors. So that's also an important factor in economic growth. And then in terms of spending, you said infrastructure spending, so that's really going to be a big stimulus, a powerful stimulus to higher economic growth, combined with exports, because our growth of manufacturers that are for exports has also been quite significant, also double digit. So we expect first quarter growth rate to be pretty decent, I would say, in the order of, I think, around 7%.
Infrastructure projects, what kind of infrastructure projects will take off ground? How many of them? How many approvals are you looking at? This year, since we started in 2016, July 2016, we were processing projects, meaning we had to evaluate, we had to get projects to do feasibility studies, and then technical evaluation, then approval by the Investment Coordination Committee, cabinet level, and then NEDA board approval, which is NEDA board is chaired by the president. So we have approved already about 35 major projects since we started, and many of these projects have been, have already started preparations for implementation, like detailed engineering, right-of-way acquisition, and many of these projects are going to break ground, start construction this year. So we can expect about, 24 more projects to come off?
This year, I would think half a dozen at least would be breaking ground.
One of the sectors that's being focused on is telecom. As part of efforts to make it more competitive, the Philippines is looking at allowing more foreign players or allowing foreign investors to own more of these telecom companies.
Yes.
Currently, they're allowed 40%.
Yes.
What's the plan?
Yeah, the plan is to raise the foreign participation in telcos beyond 40%. So
70%, 100%? Is that a possibility?
It could be up to 100%, depending on the agreement between government, the private sector, local private sector, as well as the foreign player. So the key is that we have taken out the bill revising the Public Service Act is taking out the telcos from public service, public service, and it's utility. It's now considered a utility, which is taken out from the definition of Public Service Act.
Secretary, how soon do you think this will take off? Can it happen this year, for instance?
The passage of the approval of that bill into law should take place in the third quarter of this year.
And so it will be operational by later this year.
How much interest have you seen from foreign investors and foreign companies?
Quite a bit of interest coming from Korean firms, Chinese firms, and even American firms, and Japanese. Japanese players are also looking into participating in the telco.
Secretary Pernia, tourism is a very important sector for the Philippine economy, and President Duterte shut Boracay to clean it up. Quantify for us the impact of that closure.
Well, we have done an economic analysis of the impact of Boracay closure, not only focusing on Boracay or the island, the province where Boracay is located. We are looking at the whole economy, because when you close a tourism destination like Boracay, there will be tourism diversion to other tourist destinations in the country. And if we take those the tourists' arrivals diverted to other tourist destinations, then the impact will be more manageable. It would be far less than would be the case if we didn't have alternative destinations.
But can you quantify the impact? Can you give us a number?
The impact is only going to be about 0.1% of GDP. 0.1% of GDP growth will be reduced will be taken out of GDP growth. But that's only for the 2 quarters that the Boracay is closed.
Just before we let you go, it's a lot of uncertainty in terms of the relations between the U.S. and China. What kind of impact do you think it will have on the Philippine economy as the Philippines becomes increasingly close to the Chinese?
I think it's beneficial that we have improved our relationship with China, given the fact that the U.S. is, trying to be protectionist, isolationist, and so we have an alternative trading partner, investment partner, and foreign relations partner. And so I think it's not only good for the Philippines but also for other Asian countries, because now with greater integration, economic integration within Asia, then more things can happen within Asia rather than depend on the U.S.